Do you like dogs? Because I sure do. How about we look at some in action now?
Welcome! Today we are here to discuss the nervous system of Canis lupus familiaris, or for you common folk, the dog.
The central nervous system includes the brain and spinal cord. These parts of the dog's anatomy are covered by meninges. These are specialized tissues that cover the brain and spinal cord.
The spinal cord of dogs is divided into regions that correspond with the bones that make up the spine. In order, there's the cervical, thoracic, lumbar, sacral, and caudal.
But why does this matter? What makes dogs so unique? I'm glad you asked. Let us show you a video of some unique dogs.
The rest of the nerves found in the dog's body are called the peripheral nervous system. These signals that make a dog roll over, spin, or chase a ball are transmitted through nerve cells called neurons.
All neurons have a center portion called the cell body and two extensions called dendrites and axons. Dendrites receive signals from other neurons and transmit electrical charges to the cell body. Axons transmit electrical charges away from the cell body.
Once the current has reached the end of the axon releases chemicals called neurotransmitters. These pass the signal to the dendrites of other neurons or to muscles or glands. This signal shows why a dog drools or runs around.
Neurons in the peripheral nervous system combine to form pairs of spinal nerves and pairs of cranial nerves. The spinal nerves come from the spinal cord and extend axons outward into the front of the hind legs as well as the bladder, anus, and tail. These nerves subdivide into smaller nerves that cover the entire surface and interior of the body. The cranial nerves include sensory and motor neurons that connect the head and face to the brain.
Sensory neurons carry information from the body to the spinal cord or brainstem and then onto the cerebellum and cerebrum for interpretation. Sensory information includes sensations of pain, which we will not show with an actual dog because that's just cruel, position, touch, temperature, taste, hearing, balance, vision, and smell.
Inside the spinal cord, the axons of motor neurons form bundles known as tracts, which move this information to motoperipheral nerves going to the muscle in the limbs. Motor neurons are important for voluntary movements and muscle control.
A specialized set of neurons control and regulate subconscious bodily functions that support life, such as heart palpitation or digestion. These neurons make up what is called the autonomic nervous system, which sends axons from the brainstem and spinal cord to various areas of the body, such as the heart muscle, the digestive system, and the pupils of the eyes.
Now you must be wondering, what's the point of whiskers? I'm glad you asked. Whiskers are long, coarse hairs protruding from a dog's muzzle, jaw, and above his eyes. The follicles at the base of the hairs are packed with nerves that send sensory messages to the dog's brain. These whiskers are highly sensitive to changes in air currents. They serve as receptors for information about size, speed, and shape of nearby objects. A dog's vision is not very well evolved, so whiskers essentially help the dog to see. Vibrations in the air also help a dog sense danger that may be approaching.
What would happen if these whiskers were to be cut? Well, here is a living example of what would happen if you did just that. Right before Christmas, Takani was completely shaved. Not only did the groomer cut off all of his fur, they also trimmed his whiskers to nothingness. If the whiskers of a dog are cut, they can become disoriented. Some dogs can become shy, meek, timid, or unsure of their surroundings and may move in an abnormal way because they are not getting the sensory messages that the whiskers provide. Dogs may become scared because of this, which can lead to aggression or a short temper.
Disease in either the central nervous system or the peripheral nervous system can lead to a change in a dog's inability to sense its environment. Some signs that can indicate this are behavioral changes, seizures, tremors, pain, numbness, lack of coordination, weakness, or paralysis of one or more legs.
A spinal cord injury can cause loss of feeling and paralysis below the level of the injury. An injury that is not that severe can result in clumsiness and mild weakness of the limbs. Moderate injury can result in more weakness of the limbs. Not all injuries result in paralysis, and a spinal cord injury, if it is in the lower back, can result in a loss of bladder control.
Injuries in various parts of the brain can have different consequences. An injury to the brainstem can result in a loss of balance, weakness of limbs, hyperactive reflexes, stupor, or a coma. An injury to the cerebellum can result in a lack of coordination of the head or legs, tremors, or loss of balance. An injury to the cerebrum can result in a complete or partial blindness, loss of a sense of smell, seizures, coma, stupor, pacing, or inability to recognize an owner.
These types of injuries are not always evident until 24 to 48 hours after the injury occurs. Long-term damage is usually caused by swelling or internal bleeding in the brain's vessels. Strokes caused by clogged arteries or high blood pressure are rare in dogs and other pets.
Some types of nervous system disorders can include birth defects, infections, inflammation, poisoning, metabolic disorders, nutritional deficiencies, degenerative disease. Birth defects that are obvious at birth or shortly after are called congenital disorders. Some genetic disorders cause the neurons to degenerate slowly in the first year of life and cannot be reversed. Some inherited diseases, such as epilepsy, do not show any signs for 2 to 3 years.
Tumors of the nervous system are classified by the cell type, the behavior of the tumor itself, the pattern of growth, and any other changes that are seen in or around the tumor. Brain tumors are occasionally found in young animals, but are mostly found in mature animals. The brain, however, is a more likely place for a tumor to occur than the spinal cord.
Boxers, English Bulldogs, and Boston Terriers are often reported as being the breeds of dogs most likely to get a tumor in the brain.
Some ways to test for a tumor in the nervous system include X-rays, myelography, computed tomography scans, and magnetic resonance imaging.
Due to recent improvements in treatments, these tumors can be removed through surgery, radiation therapy, and chemotherapy.
So, yeah, dogs are kind of cool, I guess. Hope you learned something about the nervous system of dogs if, you're actually paying attention to this.